I can hear the sound of the coffee machine whirring in the corner of the kitchen, the faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee filling the air. I sigh as I wipe the counter down, a mundane task that somehow feels more significant today. It's been a few weeks since my life shifted, since the moment everything seemed to start falling apart. But as I take a deep breath, I can't help but feel a spark of determination. Today is different. Let me take a step back. My name is Lacy. I'm 28, and for most of my life, I've been putting everyone else's needs before my own. I've been the daughter, the sister, the friend, the one who always gave, always sacrificed, always took care of everyone around me. It was my role. It was my identity. But recently, I realized something. No one ever truly saw me. No one ever really appreciated what I did. It took one moment, one conversation for me to realize how much I had been taken for granted. It was at the dinner table, a typical family meal where I served food, cleaned up after, and dealt with everyone's complaints, as usual. But this time, something snapped. I was tired. Tired of doing everything for everyone, with no recognition, no gratitude. And then, it hit me. I needed to make a change, a big one. "Honey, we're home!" David, my husband, walked in, his voice cheery as always. Behind him were the kids, laughing, throwing their backpacks in the corner of the hallway. "We brought Chinese," he added with excitement, his arms full of bags. I froze. A cold feeling washed over me, and for a brief moment, I couldn't speak. I had spent hours that afternoon preparing a homemade dinner. A beautiful chicken marinara, with perfectly seasoned vegetables and warm bread, just like they loved. But here they were, carrying takeout. "Chinese, baby. Why would you buy Chinese food when you knew I was making dinner?" My voice was calm, but the frustration was there, simmering beneath the surface. "Relax, Mom. We begged David to take us. Besides, we didn't forget about you. We got your favorite." My daughter, Lily, chimed in, trying to sound apologetic but clearly indifferent. "This is way better than whatever this is," David said, already unpacking the food with no hesitation. He wasn't even looking at me. My heart dropped, a lump forming in my throat. I knew they didn't mean to hurt me, but the lack of appreciation, the thoughtlessness, stung. "I've spent hours in the kitchen, and this is how you respond?" I said, the words leaving my mouth before I could stop them. I could feel my emotions threatening to spill over, but I held them in, trying to breathe through the anger. David looked at me, shrugging. "Honey, you know how much we love this. It's not a big deal. You get the night off." That was it. That was the breaking point. The night off? My own family didn't realize that I had been working non-stop, juggling my job, taking care of the house, the kids, and always being the one to hold everything together. But no one saw that. No one truly appreciated the sacrifices. You know what? I've had enough. I stood up, walking to the kitchen and grabbing the takeout bags. "If you want to eat this so badly, I'll make it easy for you. $15 a person. That's the price of your dinner." David and the kids stared at me, confused. "You're charging us?" David asked, his voice incredulous. "That's right. $15 a person. If you want to eat, pay up." Lily started to laugh nervously. "Mom, this is ridiculous." But I didn't back down. I was done being the person who always gave without ever receiving anything in return. I had been the one who always took care of the family, always making sure everyone else was happy. But now, it was my turn to make a stand. It's not ridiculous, sweetie. I'm charging you because I want you to understand what it feels like to be on the other side, to know how much effort it takes to do everything for you," I said, my voice steady but firm. David looked at me for a moment, his expression softening. "Okay, fine. I'll pay for the meal." He grabbed his wallet, and the kids followed suit, reluctantly pulling out cash. A few days passed, and the tension at home continued to build. It wasn't just the meals or the chores. It was everything. The lack of recognition, the thoughtlessness. It had built up for years, and I realized I couldn't just sit there, silently enduring anymore. I had to change things. The next day, after another hectic morning, I went to my part-time job at the coffee shop. It wasn't glamorous, but it was a paycheck. As I prepared to take an order, one of the regulars, Vincent, walked in. He was a business owner, always in a suit, always looking busy. He smiled at me as I approached. "Hey, Lacy, how's it going?" he asked, glancing at his watch. Same old, I replied, a forced smile on my face. "Just making it through another day." Vincent raised an eyebrow. "I've got a project I'm working on, and I could use someone with your experience. You interested?" My heart raced. I had been working at this job for so long, but the thought of doing something different, something that could change my life, was thrilling. "Tell me more," I said, leaning in slightly. Vincent grinned. "I need someone who can handle the stress and pressure. It's going to be a lot of work, but I can guarantee you a solid future. I'll give you the details soon, but I wanted to see if you would be open to the idea." I felt a spark of hope, something I hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe this was the change I needed. Maybe it was time to step up, take control, and show my family and myself that I was capable of so much more. That night, when I came home, I sat my family down at the dinner table. They were quiet, sensing the shift in the air. "I'm going to take that job offer," I said, my voice firm. "I'm done just settling for what everyone else expects of me. I've got dreams, and I'm going to make them happen. You can't always wait for people to recognize your worth. You have to show them." David nodded, his eyes soft. "I understand, and we'll support you." The kids looked at me with wide eyes. "You're really doing it, Mom?" Lily asked, her voice filled with awe. "Yes, sweetie, I am." As the days went by, I could feel the changes within myself. I wasn't just the person who cooked dinner anymore. I was someone who was finally taking control of her life, her future. And when Vincent called a week later, I knew this was my chance. I was ready to prove to myself and to my family that I could be more than just a homemaker. In the end, this wasn't about being recognized for my cooking or my sacrifices. It was about showing everyone, including myself, that I had the strength and the courage to follow my dreams and take on new challenges. And as I walked into that new office, ready to start my new role, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Pride, not just for what I'd achieved, but for the woman I had become. As I sat in the sleek, modern office of Vincent's company, everything felt surreal. The soft hum of the air conditioning, the polished wood of the desk, the glass windows looking out onto the busy city below. It all felt like a dream. But as I reviewed the documents in front of me, I realized it was no longer a dream. It was my reality. I had done it. I had taken control of my life and carved out a space for myself in a world that often overlooked people like me. For so long, I had put everyone else's needs above my own, but now I was finally putting myself first. I felt a rush of excitement and gratitude. Gratitude for the courage I had found within myself, for taking the risk, for finally standing up and saying that I deserved more. That evening, I walked into the house, a new energy about me. The kids were sprawled out on the couch, watching TV, while David sat at the kitchen table, reading through some documents. When he saw me, his face softened. "How was your day, sweetheart?" he asked, a small smile forming at the corners of his lips. There was a certain warmth in his tone that I hadn't heard in a while. It was good. Really good. I smiled back, trying to keep the excitement from overwhelming me. "Look, I accepted the job offer today." David raised his eyebrows. "Wait, you did? That's amazing. I'm so proud of you, Lacy." He stood up, walking over to give me a hug, and I felt the tension from the past weeks slowly start to melt away. "Thank you, David. It feels like I've finally done something just for me." My voice trembled slightly, and I could feel the weight of everything that had led to this moment. The years of sacrifice, the self-doubt, the quiet frustration. Lily peeked around the corner from the living room, her eyes wide. "Wait, does this mean you're really doing it, Mom? You're going to work at that big company?" I nodded. "Yes, sweetie, I'm doing it." For the first time in a long time, I saw pride in my children's eyes, and it felt good. For so long, they had seen me as the person who was always there, always putting them first. But now, they were seeing a new side of me, a side that was willing to chase her dreams, no matter how hard it might seem. That night, as I prepared dinner, my own favorite recipe, a simple meal of roasted chicken and vegetables, I couldn't help but reflect on the path I had taken. The journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth it. It had taken everything I had, courage, sacrifice, and the willingness to change, but I had finally found a balance. And that balance wasn't just about giving, it was also about receiving. The following weeks passed in a whirlwind. I immersed myself in my new role, learning the ropes, meeting new colleagues, and slowly proving myself in a field that had once felt out of reach. Every day felt like a victory, not just because of the work I was doing, but because I was showing my family what it meant to pursue your dreams with passion and determination. David and the kids began to notice the change in me. They saw how happy I was, how fulfilled, and they started to support me more. Not just in words, but in actions. David started taking on more responsibilities around the house, and the kids began pitching in without being asked. It was as if they had finally realized the true weight of what I had been carrying for so long. One evening after dinner, Lily walked up to me and handed me a small piece of paper. "Mom, I made this for you." She smiled, her eyes shining with pride. I opened it to find a drawing of me in the center, surrounded by the words, "I believe in you." I couldn't help but tear up. It was simple, but it meant everything. In that moment, I realized that my journey wasn't just about me anymore. It was about showing my family that anything was possible, even when it seemed like the odds were against us. And as I looked around the room at my family, David, Lily, and even my son, who had been quiet but supportive through it all, I knew that I had made the right decision. I had finally chosen to live for myself, to pursue my passions, and to show them that no dream was too big. The months passed, and as I continued to excel in my new job, the tension that had once filled our home began to dissipate. My family had learned to appreciate the quiet sacrifices I had made, and they had seen firsthand the power of believing in yourself and chasing after what you want. One evening, David pulled me aside. I've been thinking, Lacy, you've done so much for us, and I see now that I haven't been there in the way I should have. I want to make it right. I looked at him, my heart swelling. I have already forgiven you, David. What matters is that we're moving forward together. We're in this together. And that was it. In that moment, I realized that life wasn't about perfection. It was about growth, change, and the courage to follow your own path. As I looked toward the future, I felt ready to face whatever came my way. My family was stronger now, our bond unbreakable. And for the first time in a long time, I was truly happy. It wasn't just about the job, the recognition, or the sacrifices. It was about realizing that I was worthy of all those things, and finally accepting that I didn't have to lose myself in the process of loving and caring for others. As I sat down at the dinner table with my family, the laughter and chatter filling the air, I knew one thing for certain. I had finally found the balance between caring for others and caring for myself. And that, in itself, was the greatest achievement of all. What do you think of Lacy's journey? Was she right to stand up for herself and demand recognition for her sacrifices, or should she have continued putting her family first? How do you feel about her decision to pursue her own dreams? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Has this story inspired you to make a change in your own life? Do you think it's important to find the balance between caring for others and caring for yourself? Share your experiences or opinions, and don't forget to like and share if you think someone you know would relate to Lacy's journey. We'd love to hear from you and discuss this story with all of you. Let's keep the conversation going.